In this video, you're going to learn how to set up a 404 page for React Router. So in our applications, we're going to have a bunch of pages that we explicitly set up. We have the root page, we have create, edit, and help, and we know exactly what to show on all of those pages. But what if someone visits a URL that we do not have a route for? For example, what if I go from /help over to /testing? If I visit this page, we're not going to get an error. There is no error in the console. We're just not getting anything at all. React Router runs through our 4 routes looking for a match. None of these routes match this URL, so none of them actually show up. And the end result is that we just get an empty div, which means no content is rendered to the screen. Now, how do we fix this? Well, what we're going to try to do is render a component just on pages that we haven't specified elsewhere. So testing, for example. Testing is not listed here, so I would want to show the 404 component when I do see the testing URL. To get this done, what we're going to do first is create a component to show. And for now, we're not going to worry about the functionality of the components. We're just going to stick with getting them rendering. So I will just copy and paste the help page component, and I will change the component name from help page over to not found page. And I'm also going to change the text. We'll set the text value equal to 404 with an exclamation mark at the end. So now we have the not found page component, and the goal is to get it showing up. To do this, we're going to use another route down below, right here, route. Now, previously, we specified path and component, but it's important to note that path is completely optional. So I could go ahead and set up component, setting it equal to the component we just created, not found page, and this is going to work. The result is that not found page will be rendered on every single page for our app. That's the testing page. That would be the root of the application. It would also be the create page we set up. They're all going to be showing the 404 component. So on the application pages that we did set up, we can see we're getting the correct thing, and then we're also getting the 404. That's because when we remove the path, React Router always considers that a match. So it's going to see that this is a match right here, create, and then it's going to see that this is a match as well. And this is close to what we want, but it's not exactly what we want. We only want to show not found page when the current URL doesn't match any of the routes up above. So if it's not /, if it's not create, if it's not edit, and it's not help, then and only then do we show not found page. If it is any of these, we just show the component specified, and we don't show not found page. Now, in order to get this done, in order to conditionally render not found page, we're going to be using a component that React Router gives us. So it's another thing that we're going to be importing. We can explore this over inside of the documentation if we scroll down a little bit. This one is called Switch. Now, Switch actually doesn't take any props. It's really easy to use, and there's a good example of it down below. We just open Switch. We close Switch, and we put a bunch of routes inside. This is going to change the behavior of React Router DOM. Let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what Switch does. First things first, we're going to go ahead and import it. Up at the very top, we currently grab browser, router, and route. I'm going to grab Switch as well. Then down below, we're going to set up Switch. Now, we can actually put Switch right inside of browser, router. We can take our div, and we can replace it with Switch because Switch needs the routes inside. So we already have the correct setup. I'm just going to get rid of div and switch it over to Switch. And I'll do the same thing with the closing div tag. So now we're still conforming to the browser router API. We have just one child, and we have all of our routes inside of Switch, which is great. So what exactly does Switch do? When React Router sees Switch, it is going to move through your route definitions in order, and it's going to stop when it finds a match, which means that if we are on the dashboard page, it is going to look at the first route. It's going to see that it's a match, and it is going to stop. It's never going to check these ones. If we are on the help page, it is going to go through this guy. It's going to see it's not a match. It'll go through the create one, also not a match. It'll go through edit. It's not a match. It's then going to see help. That is a match. It's going to stop. It's not going to look at any of the ones down below. Now that means we're not going to see not found page when one of these does match because Switch is going to stop right away. But if none of these match, Switch is going to continue looking until it gets to the bottom. This one always matches, so this will show up for routes that aren't defined. Now, if we save app.js, we can actually test this out. Over inside of the Expensify application, I'm on the create page, and you can see that the 404 message went away. This is going to be true for any of the application pages we've defined explicitly using route up above. But if I do head over to a page that we haven't set up, like does not exist, we're going to see that we are correctly getting the 404 page. So once again, why? Because switch goes through one at a time, trying to match up this URL to our routes. This isn't a match. This isn't a match. This isn't a match. This isn't a match. This is always a match. It's a match for the current URL. And that is why 404 shows up. So this simple strategy is going to allow us to create that 404 page. And later on, we're going to put more meaningful content here. We'll link them back to a page that does exist, like the dashboard page. But for now, this is a perfectly fine solution. We're just getting some text showing up, letting the user know that they're probably somewhere they don't want to be. Now that we have a 404 page in place, let's go ahead and move on to the next video where you're going to learn how to link between pages. This is going to be our very first look at client-side routing. We're going to see the page change without the full page refresh. I'm very excited to get to that, so stay tuned. I'll see you soon.